let's talk about Liverpool's rough patch that we've seen. It's their first time losing 3 consecutive games in all competitions since 2023. They're the first Premier League defending champions to lose multiple games in the 90th minute in a 7-day span. And then, of course, their 2 most expensive signings in history, Wirtz and Alexander Isak, not quite having that big instant impact that we were hoping for. All right, let's get straight into what on earth is going wrong with Liverpool and Arne Slot right now. We've also got our Frank Labeouf joining us, as well as Beth Lindup, because there's a lot to talk about, guys. And I'm going to start with you, Beth, because you're closest there to the action. And like I said, we're all scratching our heads after great recruitment from Liverpool. It was all starting so well for Arne Slot. How and why has it fallen off?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, and I think one that Arne Slot himself will be looking to solve over this international break. I think ultimately it's multiple factors, really. I mean, you mentioned the recruitment there. And on paper, Liverpool signed a lot of great players, obviously spent a lot of money, but they are a team now in transition. And you know, people might take issue with that and say, well, you shouldn't be in transition if you've spent all of this money. But ultimately, they've had to replace sort of 4 or 5 starters with 4 or 5 new players. And regardless of how good those players are, it does still take time to adapt and for players to find their feet. So I think that's one part of it. I think another part is that the existing players, the likes of Mo Salah, the likes of Ibrahim Konate, players who've been stalwarts of this team for several years now, are performing way below their usual level. And I think, you know, that the undercurrent to all of this is that it's been a very, very difficult summer for the club. And, you know, Virgil van Dijk came out after the game on Saturday and said, you know, we always knew this was going to be a difficult season. And he got a little bit of criticism from some quarters of the Liverpool fan base, actually saying, you know, maybe that's an excuse and it was not something that they talked about when they were winning games. But I think ultimately this season will be tough for these players because obviously of the loss of Diogo Jota in the summer. And I think that when we're sort of assessing what's gone wrong for Liverpool, I think that always has to be at the back of everyone's minds, like it or not. That is going to affect these players in this team. But there is obviously more of a tactical issue and more of a personnel issue, and those are the things that the Arne Slot will be looking to solve in time for that Manchester United game after the international break.
Yeah, I think that's something that we have discussed a lot, Stevie, just the fact that we know there's a lot of new faces at Liverpool. It takes time for people to gel and build chemistry, but there are more factors as well, and specific things that you as well are not liking, specifically their passing.
Well, listen, when we talk about the strikers not doing their job or not scoring goals and not getting assists, there's a lot that goes on behind them. And that includes passing the ball and getting the ball to them. Mo Salah right now, incredibly, clearly, is lacking in confidence. Completely and utterly lacking in confidence. And we're getting close to the stage where Arne Slot is going to have to start looking at whether, you know, the conversation 2 or 3 weeks ago was, how long does Wirtz have? So right now, the question is, the way Mo Salah's performing, how long does Mo Salah have before he has to sit on his backside?
I mean, there's a couple of facets we're going to look at to this Liverpool. Well, there's 3 actually, because Stevie's talked about the passing. We're going to get to midfield in a little bit. There's so many issues, and Stevie talked about Mo Salah's confidence, and yeah, that confidence affects a player. But you know what? There is no excuse for not working hard.
99% of players, when things are not going well for them, we understand that at the very least we work hard. But he seems to be walking around in a daze. I mean, those breaks that Craig was talking about with Cucurella, he's not even thinking about Cucurella. And why is that? Surely it cannot be that he doesn't get it, he doesn't understand it. And there's certainly no way that Arne Slot is not telling him that, you know, you're going to have to keep an eye on Cucurella because he wants to get forward. So right now, I'm going to be kind to Mo Salah and say that we can call it lack of confidence, we can call it what we want, but right now, his head is scrambled because he's not seen the picture. He's not seen the clear picture.
Well, you be kind to him, I'm not, because he is seeing the picture of the fullback running forward. And Maresca and Chelsea must have looked at the early Liverpool games and went, he's going to cheat. He's not bothered about running back. So when we win it, I want you, Cucurella, to get on your front foot and drive forward, because we'll have a 2-on-1 down that side. I don't care who he is. I don't care what his stats say. I don't care how much he's getting paid. I don't care if he's the talisman of Liverpool over however many years. I don't care. Liverpool, performance-wise, not in terms of points, but performance-wise, have been struggling since the Community Shield, if we're being honest. Into the Bournemouth game, into all the other league games. These defeats have been coming. And you cannot have people in your side, particularly when the balance of your side is struggling, as the midfield is, particularly when you've got two new fullbacks and your back four struggling. You can't have people just letting players run off them. You can't have it. That's down to work rate and desire. Now, if his form going forward continues in the manner in which it has been, and his lack of defensive duties continue in the manner that we saw at Chelsea at the weekend, he's going to have to be dropped. He'll have to be. They'll have to find somebody that hasn't got the skill set of Mo Salah, but is at least going to put a shift in and come back and help the fullback. That's kind of where he is.
You know, the other worry would be nobody on the field is holding him accountable.
Yep.
If I'm
Mo
playing,
Salah.
I think Szoboszlai had
Tough conversations to have.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not a tough conversation. Him and I, you don't care who it is, Stevie.
No, it doesn't matter who it is. If there's any sign that they're not doing it, or it looks as though that the effort's not there, there should be 2 and 3 players on his back telling him to get back in. But there's clearly not. You know, if I'm playing in the centre of midfield, or if I'm playing fullback, and the guy in front of me isn't balling to run back, the first thing I'm doing, the first chance I get, I'm getting my finger right in his face, and I'm telling him exactly what he needs to do. That is another concern, that on the field, with so many so-called experienced and world-class players, nobody's holding anybody accountable.
I don't know if anybody else did. I think Szoboszlai did have at least 1 or 2 pops at him in the first half in that match at the weekend at London. He's clearly captain of his country, experienced player, blah, blah, blah. Frank, what do you think about this work rate from Mo Salah, just looking at that clip?
Well, 2 points. The thing is, I'm wondering if last year, when Liverpool were most dominant and were having the ball most of the time, if Mo Salah had to run back to get to follow the player and the opponent, the fullback. I'm not sure that he always did that in his career. We have to check if on his prime, where he was absolutely fantastic last season, if he had to run back, and maybe if he could save that because people were saving him. Now, because they're less dominant, we see clearly that if he doesn't run back, he's putting his teammate in a big mess. But I'm pretty sure last season he didn't do that. I'm pretty sure the season before he didn't do that as well. And another thing, if I'm not mistaken, he signed a new contract. And we said last season, what's going to be the Salah next season when we talked about it? Would it be nice for Liverpool? Would it be a good idea for Liverpool to sign a new contract to Mo Salah? Everybody was saying that it's impossible to not sign him because he's such a fantastic player. But because of his age, is he capable of running back? Because of his age, because he wants to save things to score goals. Do you remember that when Wirtz came in and gave him the assist in the beginning of second half, how he missed that pass, that goal? Sorry, and that was clear for me that he was already tired because Mo Salah last year would have scored that goal. So I don't know, I have question marks more than saying that he's guilty for not running back.
You have to question, are they being told to stay in a certain position? Are they being told that, forget that, the first man closes the ball and then everybody else files in behind? I mean, you have to question, what is Arne Slot telling them? Because, again, we're not just talking about Chelsea, we're talking about since the start of the season, there have been holes. Yeah. So you have to question what Arne Slot's telling them.
It's a great squad, isn't it? It is a great squad, and they can be a terrific team, as they showed at times last year. It kind of fell away towards the end. It certainly fell away in Europe. They have lots to look forward to. But I'm just going to be super interested how he's going to solve all these issues. The work rate and the form of your star player. The midfield, is it Wirtz in or Wirtz out? I don't think you can play him on the left. Is it you're dropping Ekitike effectively. Well, he got suspended for the Palace game. But you're bringing in Alexander Isak. He's the star signing. But Ekitike's arguably been your best player. And that's before you get to the back four. So Liverpool at the moment are just too easy to play against.